I can never not smile when I do that. All right, welcome back. Today we have Shawn Loney with Tapestry Rockford, mom of two teenage boys and a wife here in Rockford. And she's going to share a little bit about her backstory, but mostly about Tapestry Rockford. And so, what is Tapestry Rockford?
Tapestry Rockford is a local Rockford and surrounding areas nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
We collect and distribute items for school-aged children primarily. So that can be clothing, shoes, gym shoes, dress shoes, school supplies, coats, hats, boots, sports equipment, sports shoes, you name it. Anything that a school-aged child could use to get through the day or the evening, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. Like costumes.
We do costumes for Halloween. We do coats and hats and boots in the winter. Um, Sports has been a big thing recently
Yeah,
with the spring.
yeah, perfect. Like things like even like athletic shoes, pretty much anything and everything.
Yes, athletic shoes have been huge. We have not only clothing, but we have a ton of kids coming in and teacher requests for gym shoes for the younger kids.
I asked that too because as a kid, I had troubles with athletic shoes. Like I had to buy my own, just playing high school, like these $10 ones that you could feel the cleats on the bottom of your feet.
Yes,
So it's great.
we have a wonderful collection of athletic shoes. That's actually one of my favorite things to get in, and we have a nice variety. We have some amazing brands and things that really get the kids excited to shop.
So how does it work? Like how do you find clients or people in need?
Finding clients has been interesting. I started off publishing kind of our information on the Buy Nothing Project on Facebook and some of the other groups that I've been involved in,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of targeting people that were asking for things that I had a lot of, and kind of built a community that way and word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And decided shortly after that that I really wanted to get in with the schools. Decided that meeting people just in the community wasn't enough, and we needed to make sure that the kids had what they needed for their day-to-day school needs.
Mm-hmm.
So we started talking with some local elementaries. We brought up costumes. This was right before Halloween that I really did a push at the schools and said, you may not know who we are or what we're doing yet, but we have a ton of costumes. We will come to you. We will deliver them to the school, let the kids try them on and keep them. And that was a huge turning point in the district.
Yeah,
I was
imagine
able to,
the personal service, the kind of delivering,
yeah,
making it easy, reducing friction.
absolutely. It was awesome. Some of the teachers sent me a list of other teachers in their building, what they
Mm-hmm.
needed, what sizes. And I came in with a tub, and the kids came to the office and picked out whatever it was they needed for Halloween. So that was kind of my introduction to working closely with the schools.
Yeah.
From there, it turned into the hats and boots and coats recess needs,
Mm-hmm.
and really started working closely with the different teachers in the elementary schools specifically. At that same time, I developed a relationship with students at the high school through National Honor Society and Student Council. So I also started working with counselors at Rockford High School for their needs,
Okay.
and decided that that might be the way I want to go, is
Yeah.
working through the schools primarily.
So people in the school, they contact you, you have some goods um, saved up. I guess let's rewind a little bit. If you were to give like a 30-second overview of what you do, what you offer, what does that look like? Like what's your like quick,
If I was selling to the
yeah,
idea to someone at the school,
yeah, like,
basically,
hey,
because
like
that's,
I asked you, what do you do?
yeah, the biggest
What is,
thing is that I would like to get out to people that are asking that question and how I can help them,
yeah,
primarily through the schools, would be letting them know that it is very personal and it is very easy. That's one of the things I had another teacher speak out about, is that everyone would be using this if they had any idea how easy I made it. I've spent a lot of time between myself, my volunteers, getting information from different people in the school community about what they need. So starting with the gym clothes, that was a big thing, having gym shoes, having hoodies, having gloves, things that they need, and having them available in different sizes and styles, so that when someone calls and has a need, I've been able to do a 24-hour-ish turnaround and deliver it to their school building. So I feel like that's one of our biggest things is when someone reaches out, the turn time is very quick. We have a lot of stuff in our inventory that we're able to provide to them in a very quick manner.
That's great. I still remember. I know this whole thing kind of hits me because back when I was a kid in school, we were of little means, I guess, and we would often get picked on. I'd get in fights over the clothes I was wearing. I had my duct tape track shoes as a little kid. He had grandpa's pink and paisley plaid shirt, what country western shirt. That's all you kind of had. And my Rustler jeans, I remember that was one that was just not cool. So it really impacted my self-esteem. And I know so many other kids. We kind of grew up in a pretty poor area. But people here, even in Rockford, like a lot of people, I was just talking to, a family member about our conversation. And last night, and she's like, they have those people that need things in Rockford because people think Rockford's this really high-end place, but we really do have a wide variety of socioeconomic.
We do. That's another one of the reasons that we do what we do is I spent a lot of time in the elementary schools when my children were in elementary, and I saw that there was give roughly an 80-20 balance between the students that had everything that they needed for school and the 20% that were lacking, whether it was the shoes, the clothing, the supplies, the things that they needed to get through their day. And living in a community like Rockford where there's so much to offer, it hurt me to see that there were kids that are given the same opportunity as my kids, but they're not navigating it the same way that my kids are. And it was definitely something that hit me that there are people that are willing to give these items, have these barely used items. Yeah. And there are families right in my own kids' classrooms that don't have these items or have them, like you said, that just weren't the same. And I know everybody always touches on bullying and inclusion and all the different things. And I just thought if this was one little way that we could help balance that out while the kids are in school, just for their day-to-day, that's how I can help.
Yeah, that's great. It's amazing. It seems so simple. It just, you got people here and people here that need, and you're kind of that conduit and that helping hand, but it makes such a big difference because they might be here and here, but they're like worlds apart.
Yep. That actually brings it into me for if somebody was to ask when you talked about earlier, what do I do? I'm a middleman. I'm the one that has time to offer. That's the thing. My kids are both in school. My husband works full time. I've been blessed to be home with the kids, and they're both in middle school now. So my during the day needs, I'm no longer a room mom. I have my days free for the most part. But it allows me to pick up donations from donor porches. It allows me to deliver to the schools. It allows me to do the things that a single mom with 4 kids just doesn't have the time to do. When they have the need to get these items, they can't go porch to porch picking up a bag of, size 7, 8 girls' clothes to only have one item work. Yeah. This allows me to do that work. It allows me to have a place where they can come to shop, where the students feel like they are shopping. I've heard more than once, we love this store. You mean we get to shop and take what we want? It just gives them the same experience that others might be able to have. And I can do that for them. So if I can do that, that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful thing. The personal service thing is one of the other things. Picking it up from people's homes, delivering it to the school. There's such a, and if time is our most valuable commodity, then you're giving the most valuable thing.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've had a lot of people ask about that. And I mean, if you think about it, if you've had kids in sports in Rockford's a huge area. And I have 2 boys that are active in sports and other organizations. And sometimes I feel like I'm just a chauffeur. Now, if I can stop and pick up and drop off on the way, I'm all about maximizing my time. Sure. So most of the time, it's not inconvenient for me. It's just one more stop that I do for work. So the kids know half the time we have to stop somewhere else to pick up something for work, and it's just become second nature. So that's the easiest thing I can give is my time.
Yeah. So Great, awesome. Like, we'll get into a little bit more, but before we get kind of too far down the road, let's get back to maybe to the origin story. How did this come to start? Where the idea come from?
Um, that's a good question. I think it's something I've always wanted to do.
Mhm.
In prepping for today's conversation, it had me
Yeah,
do a little bit of thinking,
sure.
and I realized that growing up, my grandma always had this closet in the back room, in the blue room. My family will know that
Blue room.
always had gifts and things
Mhm.
that she purchased, and I'd always ask her, why, what do you have in here and why? And she said they were good items for a good price. And she would just buy them and keep them in this closet in the back room. So my sister and I would play in there and look at all the stuff. And I didn't think much of it until our conversation, where I realized that I did the same thing. I would have a closet full of,
Listening, we just want to take a quick break to thank our sponsor, the Palmer Group. They are the ones financing this and making everything happen. That'd be me, Elizabeth, Joni, and the rest of the crew. We appreciate your business. And if you have a place to buy, sell, whether it's vacant land, multifamily, single home, condo, looking for a vacation home up north, we can help. Just have a couple questions, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer them. Also, that we are able to help people buy and sell homes around the country. We have a network of great agents, particularly in Florida, but we can find you an agent anywhere in the country and even across the world. We might be able to help as well. So we will be happy to interview multiple agents if they're not already in our network and make some recommendations to make that transition easier. Whether you're moving from there to West Michigan or from West Michigan to another place or from Florida to California or Texas to Tennessee, we're happy to help. So again, thank you. And now back to the show.
either things I purchased for a good price and didn't necessarily need, but I knew somebody would one day, so I would put it in the closet. And I started saving gently used things from my own kids and just built up a closet full of things that I had no idea what I was going to do with them. And it wasn't until I started working in the schools and realizing the need that we talked about that I realized, okay, somebody needs these and I need to match make them. So I started matching them online with people, but it wasn't until last Christmas, not this year, but the year before,
Mhm.
that I said, I want to have a store. I want to do something. I want to be able to get these items to the people that need them. So it was basically January of 2024 that I created Tapestry. My son helped me come up with the name. We got the social media going. We applied for a public charity, 501c3, got our website
Mhm.
going, and just spent the first 6 months of the year getting all of that together and collecting from friends. I just put the word out to my friends, hey,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to do. This is what I've been doing. And I know a lot of them had been too.
Yeah.
So all of those things that moms throughout the community had been keeping in their own closet, I said, listen, I'm going to do something with those things. So I filled my basement with my stuff, their stuff, and anyone that offered stuff to me.
Right.
Didn't really know what I was going to do with it, where it was going to go. Just felt a calling
Yeah.
and started this. So midsummer, my husband said the basement is full
Yeah.
and you've got most of your things in order. What are we going to do? So I started looking for a space. One of the big things I didn't want to do, I didn't want a storefront. I didn't want a storefront in Rockford. Number one, I couldn't afford it because at this point we had zero money. We just had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take a storefront somewhere that could bring jobs, income, into Rockford. So I needed to find a place that was a little off the beaten path,
Mhm.
but had plenty of room for piles and racks of clothing. So I did find the place that we're at now. We're right at 10 in Algoma, and it was just outside of town, which was perfect. And I started with 2 rooms. I walked in there and walked out with the keys and said, this is going to be perfect. So we moved in August, actually July, we started getting ready and moved everything out of the basement into the 2 rooms that we started in. And in August, I opened the doors, put out information on social media, and said, we have back to school clothes, back to school shoes. We received some donations of back to school supplies and backpacks and just all the things I've been collecting. And we saw over 55 kids in the first month.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
So
that's a lot of lives.
So it was a lot of, a leap of faith, a lot of collecting, a lot of patience from my family, and a lot of help from my friends and other donors. And then it all came together in August, and we realized that this was going to work.
So you have and we can get maybe into more later and how people can help, but so you have the space. Is it free?
It is free. All of our items that we collect are free coming into us. Being a 501c3, we do offer donation receipts if anyone needs that for tax donation, for tax deduction. But all of the items are in good condition. We ask that they are school appropriate and in school condition. We really are trying to avoid play clothes and things like that. We want something that somebody could be proud to shop and wear to school. We receive a lot of items still with tags that someone had bought for their own child and they outgrew it before they wore it or pushed it to the back of the closet, things like that. So we get a lot of really nice clothing that comes in free. Our clients shop completely free of charge. There's absolutely no charge to come in. We are by appointment only. That allows the family that private time to shop, a little different than going to, say, a Goodwill, for an example, where they can make an appointment to shop. We have a little fitting room. They take what they want. If there's items that they aren't exactly sure about, I allow them to take them, let the kids try them at home, see if it'll work. We have a drop-off bin right out front, and they can return any items that they don't use. So it's just a revolving door.
So do you do, I know some of the charities won't accept things, or if they get them in, they just throw them away. Things like Rockford Rams gear, apparel, like team apparel. Do you deal with that stuff? Like,
That is a great question, and I have two very important things to say about that. Is number one, yes, Rockford Rams or any local sport.
Sparta or Cedar Springs.
We now, the 2 rooms we started with, we've now expanded to 6.
Oh, wow.
So one of those rooms is the locker room.
Okay.
That room contains all of our athletic shoes, gym class, and things like that. But there's also several racks of cleats and baseball and football and basketball shoes and soccer cleats galore. So we do have all that available. We have gently used sports equipment and all of the Ram wear or Major League Sports or just any of our sports gear is in the locker room for kids that are specifically looking for that. The other thing that you brought up, though, is things that other people don't want, other organizations don't take. One of the biggest things that I really want to stress today is the partners that I've made over the past year of doing this have allowed us to focus on the kids and the needs that we have while still distributing people's donations and items to the community. We work closely with 3 different organizations that take baby, infant, toddler donations. We do not. We accept them in. I often get big bulk donations. In order to get what I want, I kind of have to take what is given. So when I have baby, infant, toddler items come in, there's 3 other organizations that pass out for free that I work with, and they come pick up from me or I deliver to them. There are other organizations that take adult clothing. While we do accept adult clothing, it needs to be teen specific. Since we offer for school-age children, usually kind of the 18, 19 is really the max that we see. They don't want to see mom clothes. I've been told that some of the things that we've brought in that I think are adorable, of course, are mom clothes. So the best part's been having the high school girls go through our clothes because they have no problem telling me that nobody's going to want that. So the mom clothes, I have other organizations. Grand Rapids Police Department has programs that I partner with. There's some shelters that we partner with, and our most recent and last stop for clothing is a girl who runs a homeless outreach program in Grand Rapids. So everything that we get in, if it does not go to the shelf in Tapestry or to one of our clients, goes to another organization that we've formed a relationship with to ensure that everything is going to somewhere that needs it. There are very few things that we would quote, dispose of. And even those, there are organizations locally that will take clothing and items for rags and things like that. So we don't have any waste.
That's great. You said you had students that kind of help. Did they just volunteers? Did they, what happens there? And or, this is a little bit personal recently because I know a lot of high schoolers and even college students, they need and they want and they're looking for community service hours or ways to donate their time. And whether they put it on their scholarship applications or resumes or whatever,
Yep.
Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. I wrote a letter today for 3 wonderful girls from Rockford that reached out to me after the first of the year from the National Honor Society. I actually had 2 different girls reach out, both asking how they can help. And we decided that there was going to be a team of 3, and they organized a student volunteer day. That was kind of their project, service project, was to organize this for us. And they set up a sign up genius and things like that through the school. And every other week, they had a sign up available for any student in the school that needed volunteer hours from any organization. So they were the ones to set it up, get it going. They would come in every other week, bring the students in, show them how it worked and what we needed done, and as well as volunteer on their own.
Yeah.
So they've been doing that since the beginning of the year, and we're still going strong. And I'm hoping that this is a relationship that I can continue with
Right.
NHS and with the students in Rockford offering these hours. They've been the greatest help because they know the items more than I do, and they've done great organizing with what goes where and what kind of clothes we need, what we need more of. It's been wonderful for them.
That's great kind of leadership and, practice projects for them too.
Yep, absolutely. And it helps me more than I can express.
Yeah. So, so the items are free. What about your retail space or your space? Do you have an expense for that?
Not free.
Yeah.
The basement was
I
free.
figure real
The
estate
basement was
usually
free,
has a
but
cost.
also came with a cost. And yes, the space we're in currently, I will say, when I originally started looking in Rockford, I was terrified by the amount of rent to be right in town. I had the dream, just like any other business down here. I want the cutest little shop right downtown. It's going to be great. And then I realized the cost of what we're doing and how much it was going to cost me personally until I got this going. And the space that we're in, like I originally said, we started with 2 suites. That was what I could afford at the time. And until I, brought people on board and started doing some more marketing and things like that, we're currently at 6 suites, and they are full. We are beyond full right now. I'm going to really have a lot of kids working next week to make it shoppable again because the donations have been coming in and piling up. Those suites, I have a flat rate rent expense. So they've been gracious enough to offer me a flat rate amount. And as of today, we are paid through June due to donations we've received from businesses in the community right here in Rockford that have heard about us from word of mouth mostly. We haven't really done any asking or any promotion. We've had
in our conversations that like you're not super comfortable
no,
with
this
the
is
financial ask.
This is the one part that I will say when we took the leap of faith back in August, I financed through December and said, I really want this to work. And I have until December to prove to the community and my family and everybody that this is going to work. And that was our original agreement. So over the Christmas into, beginning of the New Year months, I had donations come in from 3 very substantial donations come in from sponsors in the community that covered us through June, which allowed me to take a deep breath and say, okay, word is getting out. People are aware of what we're doing. They believe in us. They are giving us what we need to keep the doors open. That let us breathe and get settled and get things going into spring where we are now. And myself and a couple members, we had to form a board when we started the organization. So there are members of the board that have been helping me get ready to ask.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, very uncomfortable for me. I wanted to do it all, but I realized the cost of having this is just increasing. We do our best to keep it minimal. Nobody takes any money. Nobody's paid. It's all volunteer and, like we said, donor free and free out. But the rent expense is something that we need to share with the community and let them know that in order to keep the doors open, we do need corporate sponsorship.
Yeah. So anybody out there wants to be a corporate sponsor,
Absolutely.
we'll have in the end, we'll have contact info and there'll be a link in the comments on the YouTube video on how you can get involved also at the end.
Sure.
So what are kind of the next steps? Where are you at right now? Is there a seasonal thing happening?
Right now, we are, most of my appointments are sports related. Like we talked about earlier, having the locker room. We've outfitted several kids with, cleats and baseball pants and getting them ready for the spring sports, which is great. It's something that has always kind of been important to me because I feel like Rockford's known for sports, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
When we started talking about where this came from, and I started telling you about, noticing that there were kids that didn't have what my kids had, the same opportunities, the same things, I realized that there's absolutely a piece of that that pertains to sports. There are kids who could be the next soccer star, but they don't have the ability to try. Startup costs for any sports are not cheap. And again, with my boys going through sports, they outgrow a pair of cleats every season,
Sure.
gently used, and there's certainly a market for that, but also there's a need for that. So I have a ton of that stuff in our locker room, and we've been outfitting any kids that wanted to try something new without the risk, of their parents having to invest a small fortune for them to try soccer only to discover they really like baseball better.
Right.
And they're actually better at hockey. So, that was a big thing, is to try to let kids explore sports. So that is a big thing right now. The other thing is prom.
Yeah.
We have prom coming up. We had two girls, one from Sparta High School and one from Rockford High School, that came to me in search of prom wear and prom help. They didn't really know where to go, weren't in a position to get the items that they needed. So we had a couple appointments. They shopped the inventory that I have and found dresses that would work. A friend of Tapestry was willing to alter them to make sure the dresses fit good. And we found jewelry. I've had some jewelry donations, which I got to bust out. We haven't used that before, but that was
Yeah.
exciting. And these two girls we worked out either a discounted or complimentary ticket through the school. So they're ready.
Great.
They're prom ready. I delivered one when I got back from spring break right to her house, and she was elated to have that and to have the opportunity to go to prom.
I think for people listening or watching too, like oftentimes there's a lot of people in our community, like great people that want to give and want to help. And you've kind of shared some of these too. And I think not everybody really knows. The schools sometimes do a decent job of sharing that, hey, there are help. Sometimes pride gets in the way of people, asking for help. So I think these are good things to kind of share with the community that, look, it's a blessing to both people. There's people that would love to give to somebody, love to buy their prom dress or buy their ticket or whatever.
Absolutely.
Makes them feel great. And then there's people that need that. So
Yeah.
great to be that matchmaker.
Absolutely. That's the fun in it, is I know there are people that want to help. I have talented friends all over Rockford that have things to offer, and they don't necessarily know how to give them away. So having Tapestry as a connection, I have connected with local photographers that have offered senior portraits, headshots for the yearbook and things like that to families that couldn't afford a session. I've had, like I mentioned, the tailor for the dress. We've had a lot of different people from the community that have things to offer, and we've helped match them with people in the community that have a need.
Yeah.
It's been great.
So beforehand, you also shared another, like you were on vacation recently and had something happen. Can you share that story?
We did. We were on vacation with our family, and I received a phone call that was a little bit shocking, but it was from the Kent County Sheriff's office. And it turns out that while we were gone, and this tragically happened about a mile from our shop and a mile from our house, there was a home fire. And word got to the Sheriff's Department of Tapestry. The deputy called, said, I'm aware of your organization. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to come out yet, which I was flattered. I'm hoping he does. But said that we heard you can help. And I said, absolutely. So I spent a little bit of time on the phone with the deputy and then the victim advocate after this house fire, trying to find out what their immediate needs were, and put out some stuff on social media, had a bunch of people reply with how they were willing and able to help. We collected some funds, we collected clothing. The day we came home, I took in all of the donations that were offered, met with the victim advocate the next morning, and the brother of the victim provided a large suitcase full of children's clothes immediately, because that's what we had in, and some hygiene items, brand new undergarments, socks, any of the things that their son, that 9-year-old, I believe, son would need. And then the next step was to collect clothing for the father. So we looked at the clothes that we had in our adult size room, put out a special request, got another whole bag delivered to them the next day. So
That's awesome.
That was awesome. It was awesome that we had the things for the kids to help right away and that we were able to get the items in to help his father. But the biggest thing to me out of all of that is I got a call from the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
You know, they know we exist, they know we can help, and they came to us to ask. So that's just another thing that helps reinforce that what I'm doing is right, it's necessary, and it's seen, and it's helping. So
Yeah. I think so many, like a lot of guests I have on, we talk business, we talk charity, we talk a lot of things, but one of the common threads of the remarkable people I have on here are like, there's always a purpose. It seems to be a common thread, and it's so great to hear your purpose being fulfilled in that, and that it connects so many other people. There's so many negative things in the news and all that, and then this kind of always reminds me that, look, there's a lot of really good people, even if we might have differences and other opinions and things. Like people do come together over
there
this
are
kind of thing.
so many really good people. I had no idea until I started this just how many good people there are right here.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the biggest hang up is that people don't know how to offer what they have to give. And I think when I was joking about being a matchmaker and things like
Okay.
that, it really is, I really am. I'm able to match people who have things to give with people who have a need, and it's fun.
Win, win,
It
win.
really is. Yeah, it really is. It's very fulfilling for me. It's very fun. I love when the stories, you know, have a happy ending, and
Mhm.
I love when we find just the perfect item for someone, and it's just been really fulfilling for me personally to see these things that I joked about, dreamed about, thought might be a really cool idea or something fun to keep me entertained, and to
Yeah.
see it coming full circle and really helping has been awesome.
So is it more work, less work? Anything you've learned from this?
Yes, yes to all of those. Yes, more work. Yes, less work.
Mhm.
I think one of the biggest challenges I've had is trying to do all of this, start all of this, navigate all of this while still being a full-time mom, because that's
Yeah.
who I am.
Yeah.
And my husband travels a lot for work, which is why I've had the ability to be home with the kids. It's just worked out for us. But it's also given me a lot of time to dream up things like this
Sure.
and plan how I'm going to do it. And I've spent, the last 13 years of my momming trying to maximize time and efficiency and make it all work in the little bit of time that I'm given. So more work, yes. Less work, it's caused me to be a little more diligent in my planning and
Mhm.
coordinating. There's a lot of days where I drop off the kids at school and run to pick up things and drop off my own things and go to the shop and unload only to fill up a car with another load. I mean,
Yeah.
it is busy, but those are my free hours.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's more work, but I've hopefully my family agrees, done my best at trying to fit it into the hours that I have available. I drop off and pick up every day. I'm still at all the games. It still allows me to be the mom I want to be
Mhm.
while also being the helper that I want to be.
It's amazing to me, like the capacity that we have when we keep adding things that, if we have the right mindset, we can add more. And part of it, like to me, I find when I'm focusing on other people's problems, it's the focus on my own. I might be stressed about getting the kids somewhere. My kids are out of the house now, but it's easier in some ways to go help somebody else out. It takes my mind off my problems,
Yeah.
allows me to help, and then it's sort of almost like a meditation or a reset in a way. Um, I
I
don't know.
completely agree. I don't have the same almost panic reaction about satisfying the needs of a client ask that I do of having to, say, renew my own passport, which I did recently,
Sure.
things like that are on my to-do list that just get bumped because it's a chore. And honestly, the things that I'm doing for Tapestry at this point are not a chore. I've had people
Mhm.
ask if I'm going to take on more, if I want to grow, if I want to become profitable. A lot of different questions have
Yeah.
been asked. And the answer is no. I prefer to stay small. I prefer to stay personal. I prefer to keep it as a very awesome, helpful hobby
Hmm.
because then I don't have that panic and that pressure. I'm able to do only what I can do. And everyone has been very receptive of the boundaries that I've set with, I only work during appointment hours and things like that. So the balance of, picking up from people and giving what I give, coupled with the unique hours that we keep, seems to be a good balance right now. And I don't really think I want to go beyond that because I start to lose that personal touch. And if I'm required to do something or forced to do something, it will lessen the enjoyment. So that's kind of
I get that.
my response to, where we're going to go and how big we want this to be. And I would love to see us help in any capacity that we can, but I love that we're staying kind of focused on just school-age children. There's enough need right there, sadly.
So when we had a prior conversation, you mentioned, and I'm kind of just as you mentioned that, though you don't want to expand, is there any advice you might want to give somebody that wants to do the same kind of thing and that might be listening in Muskegon or Grand Haven or somewhere else? You mentioned another somebody doing something kind of similar across the state.
Yes. In fact, I brought up Tapestry, not this Christmas, but the year before, to my family at Christmas dinner. And I said, Mom, this is what I want to do. And I described everything that we've just talked about. And I'd already spoke with my husband, who said, that sounds great. Go ahead and do it. I don't know if he thought I was going to dive in head first, but he was like, yep, go for it. So I was talking to my mom and said, here, this is what I want to do. And I told her kind of the dream behind Tapestry was not Tapestry, but my idea. And she said, I just saw there was a sermon at the church I go to, and part of there was a video about this organization in Oxford, which is closer to where I grew up. And she said, I've got to find this. You won't believe it. So she pulled up on her phone this little segment.
Listen, and we just want to take a quick break to thank our sponsor, the Palmer Group. They are the ones financing this and making everything happen. That'd be me, Elizabeth, Joni, and the rest of the crew. We appreciate your business. And if you have a place to buy, sell, whether it's vacant land, multifamily, single home, condo, looking for a vacation home up north, we can help. Just have a couple questions, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer them. Also, that we are able to help people buy and sell homes around the country. We have a network of great agents, particularly in Florida, but we can find you an agent anywhere in the country and even across the world. We might be able to help as well. So we will be happy to interview multiple agents if they're not already in our network and make some recommendations to make that transition easier. Whether you're moving from there to West Michigan or from West Michigan to another place or from Florida to California or Texas to Tennessee, we're happy to help. So again, thank you. And now back to the show.
Of a group called Oxford Open-Handed. And turns out it was started, and I hope this is accurate, by some teachers and moms in that community who also started collecting clothing items for kids that they knew had a need in their building. And it spread to the garage, and it eventually connected with a church who gave them a space. And they did what I wanted to do. So first of all, it brought me to tears. Second of all, it was incredibly inspiring. And third, it gave me the confidence that, okay, this is a real thing. This idea that I had isn't just some pipe dream. This is a real thing that people are doing, and it appears to be working. So I immediately reached out to them, said, give me your advice. And they said, we don't have any yet. We're still navigating the same thing you are. We have no idea. We just take the steps and do what we can. So they said, just go for it. Good luck. And that's really all it took for me. And that was, like I said, then I just set up all my things, got all my ducks in a row and went for it. For a while, it was, every day I'd wake up and be like, what am I doing? Where is this going? And then all of a sudden something snapped and the cart went before the horse and it was going faster than I could catch up. And here we are today, still chasing the dream.
That's just great and very common. I think a lot of successful people, like a lot of us have all these ideas. We're creative or we want to start a business or entrepreneurship. We have ideas, we think, we plan. And really until we start doing, then everything kind of opens up and things may change completely in a different direction. But, you hear a lot of different analogies. It's hard to steer a car that's standing still or a boat that's at the dock. You can't, you can't steer it. You can't go anywhere until you actually push out from the harbor or get the car rolling.
100%.
And so I think it's a great example of that.
Well, that analogy sums up the first almost year of Tapestry itself is like I said, I didn't ask for funding for the first year. It was one calendar year of prep work, planning. About half of it was spent in a space, but I didn't want to ask for help if I didn't know it was going to work, and if I didn't know what we were doing, and if I didn't have the confidence to share what I'm sharing with you.
Right.
I didn't have the confidence to ask you to believe in me. So it happened very fast that I started to believe in myself and believe in Tapestry a little bit more. But for the first couple months, every day I was like, what am I doing? And then once it started and people started rolling in, that gave me the confidence and showed me, like you said, the car started moving, to use your analogy. Once it started going, it gave me the confidence to accept donations, knowing I'm really going to do something with them, and sign a lease knowing I'm going to get funding. It's going to happen. And it did. But I wanted to make sure that we really knew what we were doing and worked really hard to get in with the people we needed to get in, mostly the schools, so that we could have a real firm idea of what we're doing and what we're providing before I even made it real. So now it's real. The doors are open, the rooms are full, the relationships are developing every day, and it just keeps going. So now I have the confidence to be out here talking about it because it's a real thing.
I'm excited because I'm hoping people watch this, listen to this. I hope, all these relations continue to grow. You get more sponsors, you get more volunteers, and really more people are positively impacted. So I'm excited about that. Is there anything else you want to share? Any particular stories, or if not, then we can get into what needs you might have and how people can help.
I would say we'll probably transition over to that.
Yeah. Well, what needs do you have and how can people help?
I would say the needs that we have are ever changing, first of all. So for anyone that even has the slightest interest in Tapestry, whether it's as someone who wants to be just an angel donor and just send money, or if it's someone who has a bunch of kids that go through clothes as fast as mine do, or athletes that outgrow cleats during one season, or any of those things, follow my socials. Working with kids, I'm on social media a lot. I've learned I'm not very good at it, so I have a lot of help. But I've learned that's a really good way to get things out there to the kids who will ultimately be receiving our gifts. And we update what we need, we update what we have to offer, we update how to reach me, hours that are available for appointments. All of our information can be found on social media, both Facebook and Instagram primarily. We do have a website, which we continue to update with our needs. Currently, we actually have an abundance of adult clothing right now that has come in after the holidays. I think a lot of people after the new year were ready to purge. I spent the month of January driving through the snow, picking up bags of clothes. I have another group from the school coming in to do volunteer work to help sort that out. We're going to offer kind of a giveaway to the families and friends of our student clients. So when the kids go through and discover that there are some items that are not necessarily teen friendly, we're going to put those out. So at this time, we've kind of temporarily paused our adult clothing collection until we can get it sorted, like I mentioned earlier, to all the different channels that we have. Youth clothing, like maybe 5 through 16 youth, and then adult extra small through large that are teen styles. We will never refuse. Those come in and go out just as quick. When we have appointments come in, they're shopping out of a garbage bag size clothing. So most of the moms that come in have multiple children. So the items that come in get hung up and turn around and go right back out to the community. So I will never refuse those. Shoes, always a need. We look for very gently used things that will last them more than, a couple wears. That's a good one. This summer, we'll be asking for school supplies. We had a large donation from a business here in Rockford, a big box of brand new school supplies that got us through last year. We're hoping to reach out again to the community to get some shipments of, and the nice stuff, the Ticonderoga pencils, the things that make the kids feel like they have what everybody else is also using. So we've gotten some wonderful donations there, but we were going to be looking for that this summer. To be honest, follow socials. We always have a pop-up need. When you mentioned the fire story earlier,
Yeah.
that was something out of our usual scope, but we were able to satisfy the need within 2 days. So
And what are the handles?
Tapestry Rockford, it's just at Tapestry Rockford for
Okay.
Instagram. Facebook is under Tapestry Rockford. It's a business page. And then www.tapestryrockford.com. And just to throw it out there, it's tapestryrockford@gmail.com to reach me.
Perfect. So we'll post those in the links of both the podcast and the video podcast. So great. Anything else?
I think that kind of covers it. I'm
Well,
just happy to share the story.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming in and help get involved. Thank you again. See you guys next time.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it.